It's game time. The Kid Gowie. Ravens Nation. All we know is purple and black. And if you're not a Ravens fan, Welcome to Baltimore, Maryland, M&T Bank Stadium, where opponents don't make it out alive unless we bury them. Every team be afraid of them, especially all the quarterbacks, cause our defensive linemen won't hesitate to leave you set. Let's take a minute, go back to Super Bowl 35. Domination was an understatement up against the Giants. Numerous touchdowns, they put up numbers, and it didn't take a nutritionist to see they hunger. Only stat Kerry Collins could get was interceptions. He must have thought throwing to the D counted as receptions. The pass was legendary, but don't sleep on the present. Our secondary make quarterbacks avoid their direction. You tryna run the ball, you better hope your blockers work. You can juke, you can spin, but your destination's the turf. This is a man's game, being soft will get you hurt. Watch the defense force a fumble and the fans go berserk. 17 weeks, only one league out of 32 squads. No one's messing with our team. We all bleed black and purple, you can check our IVs. Raven Nation fly high, watch us all spread our wings. Put your game face on, embarrass the competition. You ain't talking about the greatest if the Ravens aren't mentioned. Screw every other team, cause those dudes are whack. In Baltimore, the only thing we know is purple and black. Go! They always win when the championship's on the line. So if you hoping that they failed, then you really wasting your time. Going as the 49ers, I'm pretty sure they remember when they made a comeback, but weren't declared the winners. 2 rings down, but you know they won't stop now. If the opposing D's caught slipping, you know exactly how that goes. That's another deep connection for 6 points in the end zone. The stadium goes wacko as Ravens put in work. Pittsburgh Steelers, that still curtain is looking more like a skirt. So tell me who they say is gonna beat the Bengals? Who used to be the Browns until they relocated? Ravens, they are one of the greatest. There's simply no denying it. To beat them, bringing your A game's a requirement. With the youth of the team, I bet they still be dominant, even after the greatest linebacker's retirement. 17 weeks, only one league out of 32 squads. No one's messing with our team. We all bleed black and purple, you can check our IVs. Raven Nation fly high, watch us all spread our wings. Put your game face on, embarrass the competition. You ain't talking about the greatest if the Ravens aren't mentioned. Screw every other team, cause those dudes are whack. In Baltimore, the only thing we know is purple and black. Go!
Welcome to another edition of the AFC. Not the AFC. I keep doing this thing. SAG Sports. Shout out to all of you that are here joining me in the live. The people that are gonna join back later. Shout out to all of you right now. I see Mary and King Papi. As people are putting messages in the chat, if you're watching this on the replay, please give me a comment. I do appreciate it. Give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel. Okay, so let's talk real quick. It's off season, right? So in the off season, people like to make up stories and create all the scenarios. I'm not there. I'm not there. I prefer not to do videos before I start creating stuff out of thin air, right? So saying that, we did have some videos in the AFC North since the last time I came live. I was not able to be in the AFC North talk last Friday. Shout out to my guys; they did a good job. And let's talk first about the receiving, because that was a video before that. I know some Ravens fans think that we're too hard on the Ravens when we rank them as one of the worst receiving core, or in the AFC North being the 4th. Because to be honest, this is without tight ends, right? So that's obviously that takes your best weapon out of the picture. So when we talk about just pure receivers, I think the biggest, or the problem as a Ravens fan, one of the issues that we have as Ravens fan is we like a receiving core. I mean, I do, right? I like Bateman. I'm loving a lot of this Prochet vibe. Duvernay, I love him coming out of Texas. Haven't loved what I've seen from him in the pros, but I'm hoping this is his year. If he can't do anything, and then you have Wallace. Good traits coming out of college, but we'll see. I mean, he was a rookie, and my rule with the rookie, especially anything after the third, it's like first year, can you make the team? Second year, can you contribute even if it's a special team? Third year, that's when you need to push to be a starter. Well, Wallace will be pushing to be wide receiver 4. That means he's gonna get plenty of time he's gonna play in snaps. So this we'll see, but so I think it's difficult because Ravens fans, right, like me, like our receiving core. So when people diss our receiving core, we go like, you don't know what you're talking about. But it's fair. It's completely fair to think about the Ravens as the 4th receiving core in the AFC North. Think about the Browns, which I think, and I keep saying this to my Browns fans, I don't think you're that far from being the Ravens as a receiving core, right? Amari Cooper will have games that he does not play. I mean, he's there physically, but nobody's seen him, right? And if you remove Amari Cooper, I mean, it goes down real quick. I like some of the stuff that People Jones does, and then after that, right? But Amari Cooper is that guy that puts it in the top. Like, if they wouldn't trade it for Amari Cooper, they would have come with this receiving core this year. I'll put it the Ravens on top because you have Bateman better than Donovan People Jones, and then from there, I like my guys better than their guys, right? So yeah, it's definitely it's not that far. That gap between the Browns and the Ravens is not that far. And then the Steelers are second, right? And the thing with the Steelers is, look, I got like Claypool, which Tony says something that I agree completely is I hate having a big body receiver that plays like a little guy, right? You want that big body receiver to know how to use his body, to know how to pivot, to know how to box them out, to know how to just position themselves on the air, right? It's not Claypool. And then they had the speedster and the Deontay Johnson. He does have the dropsies, and then Kenny Pickens. Not Kenny Pickens. Pickens. It's not Kenny. The Georgia receiver. I liked him. I thought the Ravens should have just grabbed him. But whatever, he's a steal. I think he's gonna be phenomenal for them. So that's 3 receivers that you can argue Bateman will be in 1, 2, 3, and he will be the one for the Ravens with those 3. But after that, we'll see. I mean, Pickens might be a bust, right? We don't know. But yeah, and then you have the Bengals, which they're way out there, right? Bengals are competing to be top 3 in the league, probably the top receiving core in the league. Shout out to Raven Ron, Game Medicine, Raven 76B more. George Pickens should have been on Raven CDC tripping. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Raven Ron. Okay. So I think it was completely fair to put the Ravens out 4th. For everybody. Now we're talking about O-lines. And as soon as I see some people putting the Ravens 4th in the O-line, I'm looking at them and saying, wait, am I missing something? I think by far, that's not close, but by far, the worst O-line in the AFC North is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, the Pittsburgh Steelers had an advantage last year that they're not going to have this year, I don't think at least. The Big Ben, basically, the center snapped the ball. It touched his finger, he was throwing it already. Like it almost looked like that ball was burning him. He got that ball, he was throwing it, right? He didn't grab it. I think the average throwing time is like 3 seconds in the NFL. Big Ben was maybe a shade over 2, right? So he was legit almost a second or around there. So that was the advantage. But also, the O-line was good. They were horrible at run blocking. They were horrible at pass protecting. Then the Bengals were not that far, and then the Ravens and then the O-line, the Browns had a good O-line. Now, we'll talk about the Ravens and Bengals because very interesting. You get a Bengals team that switched 4 out of their 5 core players. You get a Ravens team that, in theory, you can argue that they switched 4 out of the 5. Stanley has been in this offense before, but he hasn't been playing much in the last 2 years, which is problematic. But if you go there, right, and think about left tackle, Stanley, All Pro, so he has potential. I don't think he'll be an All Pro, but a Pro Bowl left tackle coming up. Jordan Williams, I like a lot. I do like a lot. Then you have Carmen, decent. Playing Cleveland, good, right? So about the same, I will put them. Then center, they got the kid, not the kid, they got the guy from New England, and we got the kid, Linderbaum. He's a vet, Linderbaum's a rookie. I tend to favor vets, but we'll see scheme-wise if it is a fit. Then we got Seiler. I forgot the right guard. Seiler's a beast. Love Seiler. He played great for us last year. And then La'el Collins. And they will tell you La'el Collins is the greatest right tackle in the league. Exaggeration. They will tell you that La'el Collins is a really, really good right tackle. One of the best in the league. And I think La'el Collins is a solid right tackle. And he is way closer to Moses than they will like to think, right? And La'el Collins was really that guy. Meaning he was a Pro Bowl right tackle. I think he made 1 Pro Bowl. If he was a Pro Bowl right tackle currently, do you think the Dallas Cowboys wouldn't trade him? His salary wasn't that bad. Wouldn't you think a team, you know how tackles are in this league? Don't you think a team would have traded for him? I mean, the Bengals would have traded for him. No, Cat would say, like, you know what, F it. We're going to cut you because it's going to be hard to trade you. And that's that. I think the two O-lines are close. I think the Ravens have better players in each position. I think what the Ravens did has a potential of a Pro Bowl center, a potential of an All-Pro left tackle, but at worst Pro Bowl, a solid guard, a Pro Bowl right guard, right? 3 Pro Bowlers, and a solid right tackle. And on the flip side, you have, let me call Joe Williams a potential Pro Bowler. A solid guy, left guard, a solid guy center, solid guy right guard, and a potential, but in a distance, right guard, right tackle Pro Bowl. Okay, so just on pure potential, I think the Ravens take it over the Bengals. Raven around here says, if O-line can stay healthy, especially Stanley, we can be a top O-line in the NFL. And that is the question, because think about this. If Stanley doesn't stay healthy, who's your backup left tackle? I couldn't tell you. I mean, I can give you names, but who? Phillips? Phillips had played a couple games at tackle. Macari? Not left tackle either. Maybe a couple games here or there. Moses has played all his career right tackle in the NFL. Juwan James, which I don't think he makes the team, all his career at right tackle. Falele, all his career right tackle. So we had nothing. And that is problematic. The O-line hangs in the balance of Stanley being healthy. If Stanley is healthy, this is a great O-line. And if Stanley is not healthy, this is a mediocre, a solid O-line, but could be mediocre really quick. Raven around here, who is taking that left guard spot? Cleveland, Powers, or Phillips? Okay. I actually think Phillips is a better tackle. I thought he was a better right tackle. He was a guard, and I think that he might make the team as a swing guy. I don't know. I think he's on the outside looking in. Powers in Cleveland is between them two, but you have to add Macari there because I think you get Moses. Macari's making the team regardless. The question is he a starter or not? But you get Moses, Stanley, Siler, Linderbaum, and then the left guard. If you get Macari there, then you're good. If you get Ben Cleveland or Powers, right, whoever wins the position. I think if Powers essentially has to win the job to stay in this team. If he does not win the job, I think he is cut. Cleveland's safe for this year. And Macari, if he doesn't win the job, they keep him. Because the reality is, Macari, I think they just signed him last year, but probably not that big of a salary. But the thing with Macari is he can, not great, but he can be an emerging left tackle. He is a C plus right tackle. He's I think a B solid in the guard position and a B minus C plus center, right? He had the center snap problems. So he can essentially just go all over the line. That's why you keep Macari. Don C. Rip. Oh, by the way, thank you for having that in the name. Yes, Tony Sergusa and Ferguson. That was rough. When I saw Fergie, rest in peace, man. And then Tony Sergusa the same way, but I was more shocked at a Ferguson, right? Because he was very young. I don't. There's details that we don't know. But that was rough. Not gonna lie. I mean, when I saw that, I was like, damn. Because all indication was he was basically ready. Let's not call it a breakout year, but to be a solid contributor. And not necessarily for the Ravens, but just for him, that he would have been like, I made an impact. That sucks. And by the way, yeah, I was traveling to Paris. Never been to Paris. I'm trying to, since I'm here in Europe, trying to do some travels. Team Remy says, I think power is gone. Swing. Remy, what are you saying? Swing like Phillips a swing? Viddy's up, man. Thank you for the vacation. It was a rough week. We're a Bengals fan to Jalen Ferguson and to Goose. Oh, thank you, Diddy. Okay, so I wanted to show you this because this had me tripping. But I mean, I don't get easily triggered. What is this? Okay, you can see that. Okay. I'll show you this one first. So this is who's the writer of this? Chat router or reader or whatever the F he is. By the way, if this goes for Diddy too, or whoever out there is watching that is not a Ravens fan, you can call the line. Don't call, actually. Text the line 443-292-2337. 443-292-2337. I'll call you back when I'm ready to take the call. Yeah. Oh, look at this. Before we go that, Ryan Stanley had a minor setback with his ankle. Minor surgery and conditioning sensitive 10-day recovery. Could be ready for training camp, but it's a pec pup list to start. I mean, to be honest, I try not to read anything about Stanley. I get PTSD. He reading Macari. It's the line swingman. Yeah. To be honest, I think Macari's there. Falele will be the right tackle backup. John James is gone. So like if I had to put the whole O line, my five will be I'll put Ben Cleveland there right now for starting, and then you get Macari to be your swing. You get Colin Castillo. He's gonna be your more backup center, and then you're gonna get Falele, right? So that'll be your three. And if they're gonna go a fourth, that's where Phillips goes in. Yeah. Raven Ross here says, will the improved O-line help out our current wide receiver? Guys need to get separation or routes for shit. Yeah, about a great O-line, good to great O-line will help receiver, right? Also will help the running game. So yes. Okay. So his whole thing here was to put a defensive like rookie team, like all team defensive, whatever it's called. Okay, and I have a lot of issues and a lot of snubs for our Ravens. So he first starts with Winfrey. I think Winfrey's a good player. I'm not trying to throw shades. So he's there at the tackle. I'm like, okay, that's inside. Let's see who else is in this D line. No problem here with Hutchinson. No problem here with Kurt Loftus. No problem here with Thibodeaux. I'm okay with that. Right? Like Kurt Loftus, if you're next to Chris Jones, you're gonna create some havoc. I think so. And that's it. That's your D line, right? Linebacker. Yep, that's your D line. So Winfrey over Jordan Davis. Winfrey over our guy. Oh man, I'm blanking his name. Jones from UConn. Winfrey. And then you think about, is it because Cleveland has this great D tackles that can help him? Cleveland has nothing in the D tackle position. But Winfrey? Like legit, the Eagles have a scary D line. And you put Jordan Davis there, Jordan Davis should be here as the D tackle guy. That for me was stupid. But okay, let's continue. Linebacker. Sure. Definitely he needed to be there. Walker, I think so too. So, Sauce, I think they're too high on Elam, but whatever. And here's the next one. Look at this. Jaquan Brisker, safety. Jalen Petrie, safety. See these two? You know who's missing from that safety? Kyle Hamilton. Where's he at? Kyle Hamilton going to one of the best situations that he could go. You have Williams, they can teach him. And you have Clark, they can teach him, right? And he's going to step up and be an impact player from day one. But you had these two. Actually, if you're a Bengals fan, I don't know if Diddy's still here. You should be pissed too. We're Dexter Hill. Now, I don't know if how the Bengals are going to use him, right? Because of Bates. But yeah, they're stupid. Then kicker, Brown, sure. Didn't the Ravens have one of the best special team for the last years, whatever, how many years you want to go back? Why? I have no idea. And yeah, whatever. And then if we go now here, can't remember I know I was triggered by the defense. Hold on, because I don't want this to blow up here. Oh, Steelers.
Pre-booking your airport.
There you go. So Pickett, I think that's fine. Cook. Sure. I thought, I mean, I was surprised. I think that tells a lot about Claypool. They're essentially saying he's their number 2. I don't think they're wrong, but it's just, And then, where am I? Then they go with Watson. And I'm like, the only reason you're putting Watson is because they don't have a whole lot there. But who tells you that this kid is ready to be day 1, wide receiver 1, to get all these targets? I did not like that. I would have put Likely there so fast. big likely guy. And here, I think in the O-line they did good with Cross and Neo. Lamia, Wisconsin guard. Zion Johnson. A lot of people are very high on him, and then our guy as the center. I was shocked. And then you see the Lamar tweeted about this. Then they see the lineman, and not lineman, the tight end list. Mark Andrews 5th. Yeah, Waller first, which I think is crazy. Because putting Kelsey at 1, whatever. Putting Waller over Casey, okay. But then you put Kittle over Andrews and Kyle Pitt. The disrespect is real. And I was like, damn, man. I was a little shocked. Game Medicine here says, I think Jordan Davis and White over Perriman Winfrey. Yeah. Disrespectful not to have Kyle Hamilton next in his hill. Sauce or Booth on this list. Heck, I'll take Lewis in over Brisker. So Sauce was there. Sauce was there with the rest, yeah. Andrew at top 3 in any order for me. Andrew 5th, Slander. I agree. So like, you can have an argument. And it's hard to make, but you can have an argument. Kelsey 1, Waller 2, Andrews 3. But more, I think, will be Andrews 2 than anything. I think it's crazy. I don't know about y'all. I think it's crazy. So, saying that, let me talk a little bit about this offseason and what we have left. We have 2.5 weeks before they report to training camp. I would like for this deal with Lamar Jackson to be done this offseason. Who knows? Some people are saying, are the Ravens going to sign anybody? I will say this. I don't think they're going to sign any receivers until they see these kids play in the preseason. Nobody. None. Are you okay with that? I'm okay with that. I made peace with that. That's fine. Let me see. My 3 tight end set is what I want to see. A pass rusher is the only signing that you're going to see. Okay? You're going to see the Houston coming back, or I guess Houston's really it. There's not much out there right now, obviously, but they need to sign somebody. I think Houston is it. They might sign 2 guys, but I think again Houston is it. And other than that, you're not gonna see any more signing for this Ravens team. This Ravens team is basically content to go to the season how they are, and I'm fine with it. I really am. I think how this team is constructed is gonna be a problem. And all I'm gonna tell you is think about this, because and my AFC North co-hosts like to tell me like, Sonny, what are you gonna just think about the scenario? You have 3 tight end set, right? You have your 5 O-line, your 3 tight ends, your quarterback 9, your running back 10, and Bateman over there, or whoever you want to put outside. Go run the play. It's a read option. You take 15-yard game. Do it again. Read option. Take 9-yard game. Do it again. Now I'm not saying to consider play. Do it again. Snap. Read option. Oh, it's Lamar keeps it. Tight ends are all over the place. Confusion because now the defense goes down. You have a guy like Likely that can play outside, or he can go down the field. We know Andrews can go down the field, and you know Bateman can go down the field. See, the problem here is the people think there's only one way to do this thing. You had to have 3 great receivers. But what happens? What if you have 1 great receiver and 2 great tight ends? You know who did this formula a while back? Because the Ravens have only had 1 really good tight end and 1 decent after that, right? But if Likely can become great, New England did this. When they had, I think they had Welker as a receiver, so I think it's a different type of receiver, right? And then they had Hernandez and Gronk. And they were hell of success. Hell of success. You see, the idea is create that matchup problem. And tight ends are notorious for making that matchup problem. Now, in my scenarios, if you do that heavy personnel a lot and the defense starts swinging down, the argument that what is Bateman going to do? He's the only guy. These people are going to key on him. No. That secondary help now is down in the box. Now Bateman's on 1-on-1. And those are the situations that the Ravens are going to create and need to create. It's not about having 3 or 4 great receivers. I mean, those are great, but it's how to create a mismatch. You can have the best receiver in the league. If you don't know how to utilize it, doesn't matter. You can have a subpar receiver and you know how to use it and he will excel. So I think what the Ravens are going to do, go heavy personnel and just run different plays on the same set to confuse the defense, bring that defense down. Now that receiver's a one-on-one matchup with the potential to win maybe every time. And again, you still have a great tight end group that can catch the ball. Hold on. So yeah, the big thing is, and do you still hear the slander in the media? Is, well, what everyone's gonna do? And I feel like Lamar is also very comfortable with their tight ends. That he likes the tight ends. He likes to throw to the middle of the field. He likes that. I wouldn't even call it a security blanket because I feel like security blanket is that 5-yard. I think that 5-yard is what I call security blanket. He throws to Andrews 10 yards deep, 15 yards deep, right? 20 yards deep. It doesn't matter. I think that he does his thing. I think he will utilize the same with Likely. I think Kolar and Boyle are more that 6-7 yard guys. That intermediate, and then Bateman again also, and I had high hopes for Prochet, whoever the receiver is. So somebody was asking earlier, would the O-line be able to help the receiver? Yes. You know what also will help the receivers? Strong running game. Okay. Okay, so let me see. We have 11 corners, getting down to 53. It's gonna be tough. Yes, although I think they're gonna keep a lot of corners because they can use them for gunners and all that. If you tell me what you think about the corners right now, you get Peters, you get Marlowe, Stevens. Stevens is so underrated. I love Stevens. Pepe, I love Pepe. Armor Davis, those are 5 corners for sure. Fuller, 6. There was one more. I like those 6. There's somebody else that I'm missing. Nemo, shout out to you. Thank you for joining the live stream. Okay, we're gonna go with a caller here really quick. Hello.
Hello?
Hey, how you doing, man?
Hey, what's going on, Sonny? How you doing? I'm good.
Not bad, not bad. I haven't talked to you in a minute. This is Sudden Death. For those of you who don't know, he has a channel with Alex. You can check it out. The Purple Regime. Right? I pronounced that correctly?
Yeah, the Purple Rain podcast.
Rain.
Yes, sir.
Yes, great podcast for sure. How you been, man?
Man, I've been good. I mean, this is like the lull, the slowest part of the off season, right? So, I'm just kind of trudging along just like everybody else. It has been painful, but I'm just kind of clinging on to the little bit of news that we get week to week, whether it be about Ravens football, other NFL news as well. But man, I'm just ready for the season to start. How about you, though?
Oh, dude. Yes, same. And this is why I know that that I have the AFC North Talk, so another podcast I do, and we decided like
Yeah.
let's just take a break. This is our time for the year because once we start, we do twice a week shows for it's a 2 hour show twice a week, which it is a lot, but this is our break for the year. Uh, but yeah, man, and the only news you get is when you get people doing stupid lists, and you're like, what is happening here, right? So you saw the Mark Andrews one, right?
Wait, say it again for me one more time.
You saw the Mark Andrews list that they got him fifth as a tight end in the league.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then so I got slandered with that one, and then on the other side, I see a list of the all defensive rookie team and a prediction, right? And then they don't have Kyle Hamilton as a safety. They have two other safeties. And I was like, what the hell is this? Like Kyle Hamilton is going to a good defense. Why would you not have him there? The only Raven that made the list was Linderbaum as the center for the offensive side. For the defensive side, no rookie made it. And not even, I mean, I would have, the punter was the first punter to get drafted as a punter. They don't even have him making the old rookie list for special team. They have another punter. So saying that, what do you think about those two lists?
So just remind me really quick. The one with Tyler Linderbaum making the list and Kyle Hamilton not making the list. What was that list specifying again? One more time.
Those are the all rookie offensive and all rookie defensive team. So Linderbaum made the offensive team, and that's it. The defensive team, nobody made it from there.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Kyle Hamilton not making that list, it doesn't really surprise me for the exact same reason that he fell to us at number 14. Because if you recall, if all of our memory serves correctly, before the draft actually took place, probably about maybe a month or two, a lot of people were projecting Kyle Hamilton to be a top 5 pick. He was the best safety by far in the draft, and people were projecting him to go very, very high in the draft. But as we all know, safety is a very, very undervalued position in the league right now. So for that reason, he fell to 14 and to the Ravens. So it doesn't surprise me that, he kind of fell from this list because he did fall in the draft. And it's not fair to him. But listen, it works all the better for us because one is going to put a chip on his shoulder. And I've listened to his past 2 interviews. He had one with a podcast. I think that has something to do with Notre Dame affiliated. And then he did with Rich Eisen as well.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy, he definitely wants to prove himself. Kyle Hamilton definitely wants to prove himself. So, if anything, it's good news to me. It's music to my ears. It's a chip on his shoulder because he knows that he should be more highly touted than he is right now, for sure. But I'm expecting him to make big plays this season. I'm excited for him.
Yeah, so let me clarify. This is in this list, which I agree with you. You should put a chip on his shoulder because it wasn't that he did not make it because he was a safety. For this list, they picked 2 safeties, but it wasn't him. There was somebody, whoever it was for the Bears, and I can't remember. But there was 2 safeties over him. But I agree. I just need him to play with a chip on the shoulder, for sure. Now that being said, let me ask you something. What are you thinking about this O-line? I started the show talking about the O-line. I said my biggest problem with the O-line is we have all our eggs in Stanley, right? We have no really backup left tackle. We had, if Stanley cannot play, we all scrambling for left tackle. If any of the other positions is injured, you have not as good. Obviously, our backup will never be as good as a starter. We have a decent player, unless somebody they can fill up for the other guy. But for Stanley, yeah, nothing. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I can kind of get behind that. I mean, we're looking at a guy in Ronnie Stanley who, for the past 2 seasons, the greater part of the last 2 seasons, has not been available, just simply put, for the Ravens. So, going into this coming up season, I can understand how it is kind of a little bit worrisome that, we're kind of banking on him being healthy and getting back to that Pro Bowl form. But at the same time, I mean, do we really have a choice? Sonny, because we paid him all this money. We're kind of tied to him at this point. So all we can really do is, I know you said like all the eggs in that basket, but all we can really do is just nurse that basket as good as we can and make sure that he is ready to go whenever he is actually ready to go. Play football and get back to being the left tackle that he is. Now, a couple other things too. I think that the reason why the Ravens went out and they drafted like a Daniel Falele is to maybe kind of like, groom him to kind of, I don't want to say take that spot, but just kind of maybe get him ready, start grooming him up to make a starting role on the offensive line, because you never know. And like I always tell my co-host on the Purple Rain podcast, Simply as 10, I always tell them, listen, the seasons now are longer than they have ever been. Starting last year, they started playing 17 games a season, so you never know what's going to happen with what we don't like to say injuries, aka the I word, but they happen, right? Football is a dangerous sport, so you never know what could happen. So I think that they're trying to maybe groom some guys up to maybe, I don't want to say take his spot, but just in case. But at the same time, to answer your question in short, we kind of have to put our eggs in the Ronnie Stanley basket because we already have with all the money that we put into him.
Yeah, I guess my problem is I like Falele. I think Falele is a pick for next year because I think he will be your right tackle going forward. But I would have hoped, right, for them to get a left tackle before they got a right tackle, because even if the problem is, it's not like if Stanley will be already healthy, you can say, well, we have, like you said, all the money. He's healthy. He's ready to go. If he gets injured, he gets injured, right? But on the flip side, the other problem is he's still hurt, right? And it's a concern to me because it's now 2 years he's still hurt, right? Medicine RX said, or Game Medicine said that he had a setback in today or yesterday. So those are my concerns. So I'm like a lot of people are so concerned about receivers. I'm not one of them. I'm way more concerned about my O-line, because I feel like if we have a great O-line, if we have an O-line 2019 O-line, that's how that team was good as he was on the offensive side. Because Lamar is Lamar, but that O-line permitted him to be Lamar, right? Versus receiving wise, you're essentially similar plays as 2019. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
I'm sorry, you were kind of cutting out on that very last part. Could you repeat that? I'm sorry, I'm driving right now. My connection is a little bit.
No, it's okay. It's okay. No, I was saying that a lot of people are concerned on wide receiver. That, and my biggest concern is O-line, specifically because of Stanley and how we got to be a great offense in 2019. It wasn't because we had this big receiving core. We didn't. We have today a very similar receiving core as this 2019. But what we did have in 2019 was a really good offensive line, right? You have Stanley and Brown on the bookends. Your right guard was Yonda. Your left guard what's the left guard that year? Oh man, I can't remember, but it was good. Whoever it was good. And then the center was Skura, which was Skura's great year, right? And Skura had one really good year and was that year.
Right.
So our O-line performed great. If you get our O-line to perform that, I think we can achieve 2019 year, right? Offensively. I don't know about record, but offensively. And defensively, this defense is really good right now, right? It's well-rounded. But what do you think about that? Meaning the people being concerned about the wide receiver versus the O line. Am I okay of being concerned about my O line instead of receiver, or should I be more concerned about my wide receiver over over the O line? By the way, it was Bozeman. Thank you, Dancing. Bozeman was the left guard.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I agree with you. I mean, like you said, you're absolutely correct. The common denominator between that 2019 season and then just like our success period is just that O line and how good it was in that season. And of course, we're missing Marshall Yonda. Even though Kevin Zeitler has actually been a pretty good piece since we signed him last offseason. We're still waiting for the offensive line to get back to that just kind of peak play that is going to kind of just enhance the offense and make the passing game, the running game a lot better. But here's the thing. So, I mean, with the Ravens, you know what Greg Roman, what they love to do with that offense is not necessarily about the receivers. They've never been the feature of the Ravens attack, offense attack, the receivers. They just never have been. What they want to do is they want to run the ball and they want to lean on teams throughout the games. And what I mean by lean on teams is they want to establish the run early and often. They want to score early and they want to keep and hold a lead. That's what they love to do. Now, that may sound very obvious because, of course, every team would love to do that. But the Ravens, with their personnel, it makes it a lot easier. They're able to run, with Lamar Jackson, when J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, when the running back core is healthy, it is very, very hard to keep them off of the football field. You know, there's not a lot of third and long situations. If you go back to the 2019 season, the reason why we were so good is because we were able to stay on the football field. Time of possession, we were completely dominating teams.
Yep.
And we still were in the past couple seasons as well, but we just weren't finishing, and that was the difference. Now, when it comes to finishing ability, I think that we're going to have kind of an increase in that this year because we do have the offensive line that is getting back to good shape again. And another thing I want to mention about the offensive line and why, I have some faith in it this season is because you can look at the additions they made this year, this offseason. I think Morgan Moses is going to be a really good piece at right tackle, a really underrated piece, a really underrated signing. This is going to be another one of those like Kevin Zeitler type of signings that, like I said, we had from last year. He's going to have the same sort of impact, at least I feel like. And the biggest issue last year was Lamar Jackson getting flushed out of the pocket way too early, leading him to having, kind of make something out of nothing. And that's not what we want our quarterback doing, right? So I think that the addition of Morgan Moses, and again, we have to put our eggs in the Ronnie Stanley basket. I'm sorry, but we just have to. Granted, he comes back healthy. I think that the offensive line will be fine. But at the same time, I do think that the wide receiving core, it could use, I'll say this, it could use a veteran. It could use a veteran, somebody in that locker room to just kind of, in big moments, in huge moments, you know what I mean? Like to kind of back up Rashad Bateman, because Rashad Bateman is taking all this responsibility on his shoulders, right now that he's the wide receiver one. He's the guy now. It's his time. But Rashad Bateman really has not, he hasn't done anything other than get drafted in the first round. And I'm just being honest here. He hasn't done anything other than being drafted in the first round by us last season to really warrant him being, okay, this is wide receiver one. Yes, he had some pretty good stats in the games he played, but we're talking one touchdown, right? And I'm not going to say that's all his fault, but I think that he could definitely benefit from having, and I will say it again, like a Julio Jones or, back when Landry was available, guys like that. Like we could have gotten somebody like that in order to kind of give him that veteran leadership, but at the same time, I still think that we're good to go with the guys that we have at the wide receiving core because of Greg Roman's offensive team featuring the running backs over the receivers.
Now, I'll give you this question, and with this, I'll let you go. But
okay,
what do you think about Giro? Right? I think I'll give you my opinion real quick. I think Giro gets sometimes some fair criticism, and I think there's some fair criticism of Giro. But I do think for the most part, people would like to hate on Giro because he doesn't have the offense that people would like to see in Baltimore, right? People would like to see a high power flying offense, and that's not what Giro does. Now, 2019 was fun, but as soon as the running game does not work, people are like, you see, Giro can't do anything else, right? I argue the 2019, we talk about the O-line, but the other part was the running game was so good that didn't matter that our receiving core was not great. It's just created lanes, open lanes for the receiving core, right? So I think Giro knows how to put the receivers in good positions. In 2020, obviously there was a small step back. In 2021, a bigger step back. But also with a lot of injuries. Again, the O line was horrible. The running backs, they were all hurt. So I would like to know what is their take on Giro.
I mean, my current take on Giro is honestly, let's rock and roll, man. Because at this point, we know that he's not going anywhere. We know that the Ravens front office feels like he is still the guy to get it done. So there's really no point in kind of wishing him gone at this point. But if you're just asking me my raw feelings about like what I think about Greg Roman, I think I'm kind of the same school of thought as everybody else for the most part. That he is primarily a really good run game coordinator, but as a lot of people have said, and not just me, you don't have to take my word for it, but you can listen to a lot of experts, a lot of former players, analysts, a lot of different people have said that his passing game is just nowhere near as advanced as it needs to be. And we've seen that on our team. Literally, we've seen that over the past couple of seasons. Like when the run game doesn't work that well. So basically, when the going gets tough, we don't have an answer for it. And, I think that Lamar Jackson is a special talent. And a lot of people like to use him as a scapegoat. And if you notice, a lot of the national media, they don't necessarily recognize, most of the national media, I would say, they don't recognize Greg Roman as the problem in Baltimore. It always comes down to Lamar Jackson and his arm and can he get it done throwing the football. But the truth of the matter is we've seen Lamar get the job done multiple times. We've seen it when he was afforded good offensive line protection and then good play calling as well. We saw multiple times. So, all in all, I think that Giro, I think that with his scheme and our personnel, it can work. It can work. My question is rather, can it win a Super Bowls? That's the issue. Can it win a Super Bowls? Because like I said, when the going gets tough, and that's in the playoffs, that's in the Super Bowl, when all these games are so personal, everything is so personal in the playoffs, and people don't realize that. Like in the playoffs, it's not like the regular season where you're playing game after game after game, week after week after week, and you kind of just have to prepare for these teams on a whim. No, this is the playoffs. This is the Super Bowl where you lock in on these teams that you're playing. So you specialize in taking away whatever it is that they do best, and everybody knows what it is the Ravens do best. So when that gets taken away in the playoffs and we fold, I think that falls back on the coaching. Football is a game of chess. It's a game of chess. So I think that Greg Roman, and I want to ask you this too, because I don't know the answer to this question, and I'm not sure if anybody else knows, but what is Greg Roman's contract with the Ravens? Like, when is his last year? Do you know?
I'm not sure, but I will say because coordinators' contracts are not public. I don't even coach contracts are not really public either, and the reason why is because they don't have salary caps, right? They don't go against the salary cap, so people don't care. But the Ravens have never been a team that are like the Bengals, right? The Bengals will be a team that says, "Oh, you're gonna play until the last year because they don't want to eat that salary." I do think Greg Roman is in the hot seat. Wink was not on the hot seat, and that he got flamingly hot, and then he left this year. I can see a scenario where they say if Roman's offense regress, I can see a scenario where they do to Roman what they did to. I forgot the guy that was here before Roman. That guy, I didn't like that guy. Oh man, what is his name? He was funny talking. He talked funny too. Anyway, they demoted him, right? They said Greg Roman's gonna be the OC. You can stay as whatever coordinator. I can see a scenario where if the offense regresses, they go to Roman and say, "Hey, Roman, I'm gonna keep you as a running game coordinator, but you're just gonna have to step back because this guy's gonna be the OC." When that happened, which again was to promote Giro, I'm thinking of the year. Whatever year it wasn't that long ago. The guy ended up quitting. Marty.
Morningweg.
Was it Marty? Yeah,
Marty Morningweg?
yeah. That guy. I was not a fan of him. He got demoted, right, to like special coordinator, whatever it was, and he ended up saying, "No, I'm not gonna do this. I'm gonna quit." I can see them doing this with Giro if the offense regresses.
Hmm.
I don't
Yeah,
think
I
it
mean,
I don't think it has anything to do with the contract, though.
yeah. I hope my hope is that he is on a short leash, just to kind of put some more pressure on him to kind of switch it up. Try some new thing. We're going into a year where Lamar Jackson is picking up his 5th-year contract option. We want to sign him to a big deal. Why not make him successful in the team, as successful as possible this year before you're paying him upwards of $40+ million a season? Because I think what he's scheduled to make 18 million this year. I want to say anywhere between like 18 and 20.
I think he got
28?
to 20.
Okay. It was one of those. Had an 8 in it. I know that. But it definitely wasn't 48, and it may very well be $48 million a year when it's all said and done. But I definitely think that Giro should be on some sort of a leash this season if the offense cannot get it done, and it's visibly because of scheme. Like, there shouldn't be games like against the Dolphins where we just have zero answer for anything, And I know a lot of it comes down to execution as well. But when it's just blatant like that, and it looks like a Madden game, like big brother versus little brother, big brother just knows the ins and outs of Madden, and the little brother just doesn't know. It shouldn't look like that on an NFL football field. So I think he should be on some sort of leash. Sure.
Yeah, two things. That was bad. Lamar Jackson, 23 mil this year. Second, I agree with you with the Dolphins game, but there's something weird happening that if you play a Thursday night on the road, the advantage is the home team by a lot. I mean, the stats prove that. And if I'm not mistaken, that was a Thursday night. But I agree. It's one thing of losing. I mean, we got manhandled. Like, we had no answer. Their offense wasn't great, but their defense was just, our offense had nothing. Anyway, bro, it was nice talking to you. We need to do this again. Take care, bro. Tell them where they can find you.
Yeah, man. So you can find me and my co-host Simply as 10 on YouTube at the Purple Rain Podcast. We talk Ravens each and every week, pretty much twice a week. Since it is off season, it's kind of flickering between once and twice a week. But yeah, at the Purple Rain Podcast on YouTube and Instagram. You can find me on Twitter or Instagram at Sutton Def. And just again, thanks so much for having me on, Sonny. I appreciate you.
Hey, bro. Take care, man.
All right, man. You too.
Sudden Death, great guy, great podcast with as Simply as 10. Simply as 10, you know who he is because he puts phenomenal highlight reel videos. Okay, Thomas Morgan, shout out to you for the donation. By the way, I will say this. I appreciate every single person that donates to this channel. Like I cherish them. I cherish the ones that they donate in the AFC North. I appreciate a lot. So appreciate Thomas Morgan here for the donation. Who goes the biggest pumpkin this year? The Peyton brothers of the UK or the Ruben Mendy of Spain? I'm gonna go with Spain. Pumpkins are huge. They're both huge. Pumpkins are huge for the Ruben Mendy. But anyway, shout out to you. Thank you for the donation. Brandon Tillman, shout out to you. Baltimore boy, everybody that was here during the live stream, everybody that's watching the replay. If you like the content, I'll just ask you for 2 favors. Hit a like, share this content, and put a comment. If you can, when the video's over, just put a comment. That helps with the algorithm. Thank you for coming. Like I said, the AFC North doesn't break. I'll try to come here every week, depending what's out there. And I always gonna have during the off season the phone lines open in case you saw how sudden death jumped in here. If you want to be here, it doesn't cost you anything. Whatever it costs you for somebody to call you, that's what it will be, right? So I'll call you back and you can be in the show. We can have a conversation. Anyway, thank you for joining the live stream. I will see y'all next time.